Hello, Nana. How's it going? It's Richard over here, calling you in from Exeter, where the day is extremely and ridiculously sunny. Um, I'm calling you about 3 hours before I have to head up and go and play lacrosse on top of the tallest in the world. I mean, literally, this thing is so large that I'm out of breath before I even get to lacrosse practice. And unfortunately, because we lost our last game, our coach decided that we needed punishment. And so for the last training, he decided to make us sprint up and down and up and down and up and down the field. So much so that I really, literally, like my legs just died. It was horrendous. But that's just one of those things, such as life. Um, and very unfortunately, just last night, my computer suddenly went down in a puff of smoke because my cable decided to wear out, and I went into town, and it's £65 for a new cable. A new power cable for a computer, £65. It's ridiculous. I thought it was going to be £30, ended up being over double that. Ridiculous. Don't even get me started. I could hardly do my food shop. I was so distraught by the entire thing. And it became actually a very unfortunate time due to the fact that, I'm actually, you wouldn't realise, but I'm actually doing dragonology. I study dragons, and one of my big things just now is actually dragons of Tolkien and in Tolkien's literature. And I don't know if you've ever read The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit. I'm sure that you haven't, in fact, because Mum has always said that she never liked Tolkien or anything of that description. But the fact is that dragons are one of these things that are inherent in all cultures. I mean, they're ridiculous. They're fire-breathing, they're big, they're lizardy. And it's fascinating for me how much Tolkien actually had an impact upon our dragon culture in the way that we think about dragons now. So that's rather interesting. I'm also, rather funnily, doing an entire new thing on video games, and I'm trying to figure out Roman perceptions and Roman ideals in video games, which is actually a very fascinating study because, of course, what the ancient writers talked to us about and what we perceive in the modern future is just so different, and so it's fascinating for me to try and compare these two things in a medium such as video games. It's a very interesting thing. Apart from that, I'm going to the gym quite a lot, so that's rather interesting. Trying to get those guns polished. But the only problem with that is that I've now, unfortunately, started to do a couple of little twingy things with my back. But don't worry, I've got a personal trainer who is taking me through all the steps and making sure that I'm all okay. And Mum very nicely bought me a weight belt over the Christmas period, so that's fantastic. I'm heading back over to Malaysia in April time, so I'm really trying to get all of this work done very, very soon. And I've also, very interestingly, got my Army medical, which unfortunately I've got to do again because the last one ran out. I've got my Army medical happening on March the 3rd, so I've still got to go doing bits and pieces for that. When I come back in April, it should be lots and lots of fun. I've got several of my friends coming over as well, which I'm very, very excited about. My friend Johnny Rose, who used to play lacrosse with me in Aberdeen, and who else is there? There is a couple of other people. Dominic, who I'm sure that you've already met, who was my flatmate for 4 years in Aberdeen, and who I'm just trying to get out the house a lot more because unfortunately he was stuck in Glasgow in a coffee shop and I couldn't have anything like that. And also, my friend Tristan will hopefully be coming over from Australia. So I've got lots and lots of friends coming over. Unfortunately, I do just miss JD. I think I get there just after she leaves. But then again, that's also a nice thing because it means that everybody gets to spend time with different other people. And I always get to spend time with JD in London anyway. JD has just asked me to go up to London for a week, which I'm not entirely sure whether I can do, unfortunately, because I am incredibly swamped with work. But what she is starting to do is she wants to go into all of the alleyways in London at night and start to take photography of them. But of course, her being quite a little wee girl and perfectly capable of looking after herself, but going into a dark alleyway isn't exactly the nicest thing on the planet. She wanted a big strong boy to go along with her, and apparently I'm the only big strong boy that she knows. So as I said, I could probably give her a weekend, but I certainly don't think I could give her a week by any stretch of the imagination, really. Apart from that, really, everything else is pretty standard. Me and the Classics and Masters people went out on Friday night, and it was absolutely mental. I've never quite had an experience like it. I didn't think that Classics and Masters people could really party that hard, but I tell you what, this was one of the most ridiculous. I got back home at 4 o'clock in the morning, Nana. It was absurd. Absolutely absurd. And just partying and not even dancing, but just having a great time, great laughter by everybody. And so it's really nice because all of us people are going to be staying in Exeter over the summertime together. And nobody else is going to be here because, of course, everybody else goes away. So in fact, I'm going to be very much alone unless I've got these guys, and so it's a very, very nice thing. But I'm also very excited about summer because, of course, that means I'll hopefully be able to head up onto Dartmoor and go and see some bits and pieces, go do some walking, go do some caving. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, that'll all be good. I've now also got a job. I work in a diner. I flip burgers, and my pastors, not just going to put this out there, are the toast of the town. Literally, people come from miles around for my carbonara, which isn't actually real carbonara in particular. It's more just like white sauce with bacon and mushrooms in it, but everybody likes it anyway, so that's fine. That's no problem at all. That's simple. I hope that Mum has been able to find you some of my audiobooks. I've been making some audiobooks and doing some interesting things on YouTube. One of the big reasons for that is because I loved your audiobook so much when you were when I was a child. I remember the family from One End Street, all up in here, just in your voice, and several of the other stories as well. So several of the short stories, which were just fantastic. Mine are a little bit different because mine have little sound effects and bits and pieces in them, and they're all quite short, but I really think that you might like listening to them, and it might be nice just to hear my voice as well. You never know. But I'm very, very excited about coming over and seeing you in April and having a good chat. Apparently, I've been having a couple of tumbles and falls all over the place, but I'm sure it's just something. I tumble all the time. It's ridiculous. I fall over everywhere. So these things happen. That's no problem at all. Right, and unfortunately, now is the time where I have to start getting ready for lacrosse. We are now officially in the English League, which is a knockout chap. So if we lose, we're out straight away. So these all become very, very important games for us for the next little while, which is a little bit scary, actually, if I'm going to be honest with you. Just because I really do enjoy playing for the first team. They are such a fantastic team to play for, and they're a good bunch of guys as well. But I love you a ridiculous amount, and I hope that you're feeling better and wonderful and fantastic, as you always are, and I really cannot wait to come and see you during April time. I think it's going to be fantastic fun. Okay. Mwah. Love you lots, Nana, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Mwah.